this house is ruled by your ascendant, also known as your rising sign. So it is the representative that people meet before they get to know the real you, as they say. It shapes your outer personality, physical appearance, and your approach to life. So I don't know if you wanted to do a read first before we dive into it, or shall I continue? It's totally up to you.
I can, because there's like a heavy spiritual pull, so I'm very interested in knowing. Um, like it's so much so that I'm even going to say this. I had to pull out my ancestors candle today for tonight. This is the first time I've used this candle at our readings. But I kept seeing it, and I said, okay, I'll get it, and I sat with it for a few minutes. Um, so it's like for some people that are watching or who will watch, if you're watching the replay, your ancestors are here to more than likely help you heal, more than likely to tell you that it's okay, that they have made it to the other side, and they're fine. Let me see, because yeah, it's real. It's like a pull. That's what I'm saying. It's a pull on me. So I think whenever we get to the conversation, some more is going to come out. But so far, we have the Four of Cups here, meaning this is like the present energy that a lot of people are in different aspects of their lives, not just emotions, but in different aspects. It's that energy of I have nothing left, and spirit is saying, but you do have something left. You do have that one more thing that you're not paying attention to. You're good, and you're also coming into your Ten of Swords. You've left the mental stress. You're now leaving this and your life right now. It's time to look at the new horizons. Why? Because Six of Wands is here. You're about to step into this. Um, I'm hearing all-star energy. And all-star energy is, it's that energy of all eyes on me. Um, it's that thing of people are starting to take notice of me and they haven't before. It's the energy of I'm hearing it's almost like a scouting. You know how when entertainers are first starting and they want to be scouted out and things. It's almost like that it goes along with the scripture that says your gifts will make room for you. You know, you're going to people are going to find you because of your gift. And it's like, well, I thought that was going to happen at one point, but I gave that dream up a long time ago. And it's almost as if people are like, wait, you can sing, can't you? I can hear it in your voice. Sing something for me. That's it. That's the voice that I've been looking for. And then they sign you. Right. It's that energy. It's that you've been hitting and you've been going through some things, but now you're coming to a new horizon, right? And in that new horizon, you get noticed, you get notoriety, and then in it, you're also coming into that space with a new perspective again, because you just now coming out of that Ten of Swords energy, and with that new perspective. If you got a glimpse of my spiritual progress report on last night, it was very similar. And what it is that when you get into a new way of thinking, your whole body changes. Everything about you changes. The way you speak, the way you think, the way you do things. You're not going to do things the same way because you're looking at it from a new perspective. You're looking at it from new eyes, basically. It's like the shadow is coming off your eyes because why? You've been in the Eight of Swords energy too for a while because, again, eight comes before 10, and it was all an illusion. There were some things that you was thinking about that was happening in your life, people that was in your life, situations that was in your life, and you're thinking, oh, they're here to harm me. They're here to do this, and this was a bad situation in my life. The spirit was like, that was just an illusion. Like it didn't even touch you. It didn't even harm you because at the bottom of the deck, Seven of Wands, you've been protected. I've been protecting you. Nothing has been harming you. You've been going through situations in a bubble, quite literally. Look, and the devil card was behind it. The devil card was behind the Seven of Wands at the bottom of the deck. The devil has been chasing after you, coming after you, but you have been protected this whole entire time. Why is this important when we're talking about health? Because when you're not healthy, it starts in your mind. When you get sick, it attacks you in your mind because it's like, oh, I can't do this anymore. I even was talking about how, if you were to get like a medical diagnosis, right? The first thing that they start to tell you about it is that diagnosis start in your mind, because you don't show signs and symptoms until your mind says, oh, I'm about to die because I got this and I got that. And I know, and it has been proven. This is not nothing. I'm just saying it's been proven by doctors that once somebody, so for instance, say you have been living with cancer for 3 years and you didn't know it. You didn't know it. But the minute you finally get that cancer diagnosis, your mind says, oh my gosh, I have cancer. And now cancer is starting to manifest itself even more in your life. It's starting to drain you. It's starting to make you lose hair, or lose pigmentation in your skin. Whereas before, you weren't going through those symptoms. And it's because your mind has now claimed it, has grasped it, and is holding on to it. And Spirit was like, but even that is an illusion, because you can get your healing. You can get your healing because I've been protecting you. I'm gonna pull a little bit more cards really quickly. Ooh. Hmm. And then also, this card literally fell out, jumped out the deck. It says getting played, manipulation, lies, and control. So for some people, for some of you all, you were going through this energy. It wasn't real stuff that was happening to you. It was people manipulating you. And when they can make your mind believe something, when they can get your mind to believe a thing, even though it's a lie, you will start to believe that it's actually true. It's that it's that same energy. Um, I was just about to. I kid you not. I was about to say it's that same energy as when a lady tells a man about a false pregnancy. Like she says, "It's I'm pregnant and it's yours," and she knows that it's not his. This card literally just flipped out. Pregnancy test. Just flipped out. Pregnancy test. Unsure pregnancy scare, positive and or negative. So for some of you, you may have thought that a child was yours. You may have thought that you had impregnated someone, and it was all a lie. It was all fictitious because somebody wanted to manipulate you and control you. There was two other cards to come out. I'm gonna say this one first. Toxic. Because some of you were actually in toxic relationships and it drained you. And it drained you. And it's important for you to understand how your sun sign, your first house, excuse me, your first house can get you through that, because your first house can pull you through some things. Your first house, the house that you was literally born into, can pull you through some things, because if you know the depths of what that astrological sign can do, you can understand how you can pull yourself out, what boundaries you need to create to get out of these situations and everything. Because why? You've been tired of the drama, because the drama has been draining you, not just physically, spiritually, and mentally. And that's why the ancestors uh, I was led to pull out this table because your ancestors have been some of your protectors. It wasn't just spirit. Some of your ancestors have been pulling on you. When I tell y'all, I can feel a heavy spirit right now. Some of y'all ancestors have been pulling for you and backing you up in some situations that you don't even know about. They have been warring for you. There were sometimes you had sleepless nights, and the only way you fell asleep was because your ancestors had to cover you. There were some accidents that some of you were supposed to have that was supposed to take you out, and your ancestors protected you. They said it's not their time. I'm hearing near death experiences. And for those who's watching, you know what experiences you went through where you literally said to yourself, I shouldn't be here. Your ancestors literally protected you. And for some of you, I'm getting the parental energy. They said no matter how far they go, you still my baby. No matter how far, no matter how old you get, no matter how far along since they've transitioned, you're still their baby. You're still their child. So of course they're going to protect you. And last night during the reading, somebody came during the reading. Somebody's ancestor, spirit guide showed up. And it startled me. I jumped. I said, wait, okay, you're welcome here. So I listen, y'all protected. That's why I had to also clear out the energy. So when y'all saw the smoke, that was Palo Santo. Because some of y'all needed it. Some of y'all needed to get some of that spiritual cleansing so that you can be receptive of today's healing messages and whatever else come out. Some of y'all really needed to hear this conversation tonight. That's it.
Definitely. No, that was perfect. And I'm gonna build off of what you said because understanding, overstanding, and understanding the depths of your first house can help you tremendously because it does shape your outer appearance. Okay, we're talking about what the world sees. We're talking about what you present to the world, and that makes a difference, and that reflects onto you at the end of the day. So it's important to know what face, what energy you're giving the outer world. For instance, let's just say that your first house is in Scorpio. This might mean that your approach to life is a strong sense of intensity and that you need to have that control. Like that is going to shape your outer world because people are going to perceive you as being intense, always being like serious about everything and taking everything to that next level. And you could think that you approach everything with baby gloves, but that's not how the world is perceiving you. And perception is reality. Which may have stemmed from trauma because we have to remember this is not our first rodeo. This is nobody's first time here. I've rarely met a soul that this is their first incarnation. I've rarely met someone that has been here for the first time. So this is why we have to clear out ancestral karma and heal because it does shape our reality and the reality other people meet when they meet us. Another example, like if your first house is in Cancer, like you may find yourself withdrawing or using emotional barriers to shed your vulnerable side because you don't want people to see that side to you. And what is the symbol for Cancer? A crab. So you may kind of like shield your feelings and your emotional reactions because you don't want people to really know how you feel about a certain situation just quite yet until you understand their motives. You just never know. Astrology is deep.
Yes.
It is deep. And this is the first step to healing. Awareness. Awareness is the first step to healing. Another example You might notice is that your first house, if your first house is in Aries, the fiery sign of Aries, you might notice that you're always in fight or flight mode. That is really never any gray areas with you. It's either this or it's either that. And you're ready to throw caution to the wind and take on the world at any given moment. So understanding your first house can create healthy barriers for you. And it's about turning those challenges into opportunities for growth. This is what it's about. It's about turning everything that you find or you deem as a challenge and using it to help you grow. And this is all this time on earth is about. It's about growing, it's about evolving. Everything on Atlantis, Earth, as you may know it, has to evolve. If you're meeting someone or if you met someone and then 10 years later that person's the same person, they haven't evolved. They have a lot of growing to do. And everyone evolves at their own pace. So you don't have to put a time frame on when someone should evolve or be a different person or stop certain habits. Everyone evolves at different times. Or people return back to Earth and evolve in the next lifetime. It just depends on their soul contract. And we'll get into that on another episode. Because like I said, astrology goes beyond the surface. And if we talk about soul contracts and why you're here and this, that, and the third, we'll be here all night. So I have conducted a list of some ways that you guys can use your first house in astrology to help heal trauma. And I think we've already kind of tapped into the first bullet point that I have, which is self-awareness and identity exploration, which is just understanding who you are. And the best way to understand who you are is through astrology and through your planets, what houses they're in, asteroids, comets. When did you first land on Earth? Why you're here on Earth? All that can be found through astrology. So once you analyze your ascendant sign to understand how you present yourself to the world and reflect on whether this persona is a response to past trauma, past lifetimes that you were here, or it's your authentic self, then you can understand how to help heal yourself and uncover these layers that you've placed on yourself for every lifetime. Because false identities are real. A lot of people take on false identities, primarily because, one, I'll say because they don't know themselves. Mm-hmm. Two, because social media has such a big impact on shaping a lot of people's identities. And sometimes you kind of say, oh, well, that's a trend. Let me take on that, not even knowing that that's not even something that you do. That's just something that you see that looks cool, and you're trying to take it on as a part of your personality. And it's completely different and opposite of who and what you are to the core. So you just have to recognize false identities, and you can also tie into that defense mechanisms. When you hold a defense up, sort of like a wall, up towards you and other people to protect yourself so that you don't get hurt. And you don't want to do that throughout the course of your life, because then who's going to really know the real you? At some point, you're going to lose your own identity and not even know who you are if you continue to have a wall up with everyone. And I had to learn that the hard way. I am a Venus in Capricorn, and so if anybody knows about Capricorn placements, they have it rough. Show some love to a Capricorn today. Show some love, show some TLC to a Capricorn today. Capricorn and Capricorn placements have it rough. That's why you always know you can count on a Capricorn, because they will get the job done until it's nothing left. Like until nobody's left and until the job is completed. You can depend on Capricorn for that. All right, so that's the first thing, self-awareness and identity exploration. That's the first point.
I wanted to say, and another thing is fear will keep you from understanding who you are. Ironically, I just had a conversation earlier, very similar about this. And when I say fear, it's the fear of exploring. And I use this as an example. Whenever I was a kid, I was drawn to go outside. Had I been a fearful child that was afraid to go outside, I would not have gone outside. Trust and believe. I would have stayed home. I stayed inside. But I'm saying, and let me paint a picture. I'm going to my grandparents' house who owned a farm, a very large farm. And they had a chicken coop that stood about, I would say, at least, it was at least 20 yards away from the side door and extended out another 30, 40 yards inside of the woods. And I was like 5 years old, and I was with my cousins and family. It was like during the summertime, and I was drawn to go outside. So I put on my jacket. Nobody saw me sneak out. I snuck out the house at 5 years old. I sure did. That's the first and only time I snuck out the house. Let's be clear. So let's make that clear. Exactly. So I go outside and it's pitch black. The only thing that was out was the moon. It was a full moon and the stars. And I went to this chicken coop at 5 years old in the middle of the night and walked to the end of the coop. And the chickens followed me. And I just stood there basking in the moonlight. And then I walked back in. What 5-year old do you know go outside at night like that in the middle of the woods with nothing there but chickens? So if a bear, a fox, a wolf, a snake had come to attack me, nobody would have known. Because again, this was in the summer. But it was chilly outside, which is why I had on the jacket. Because I know somebody goes, but you say you had a jacket. It was chilly outside. I knew that. But nothing touched me. When I came into the house and was shutting the door, my grandmother came in. She was like, "No, sweetie, don't go outside. It's too dark for you to go outside." And in my head, I'm like, I've already been outside, but okay. So if I had not had a chance to explore that side of myself at 5 years old, I wouldn't be here today being able to tell you the experience, how I have always been drawn and spiritually led to do things. I have always been in this space. So I wanted to share that because, and a part of that is if you are drawn to certain things and you are afraid to take that step, you're holding yourself back from understanding who you are. You're holding back that very essence of yourself that spirit has made you to be. And you're like, I refuse to see it. That's why there's so many people who have sight gifts who think they're going crazy. And so what they do is they try to mask it by drinking a lot and using drugs. Let's be honest. And they're like, oh, I'm hearing voices. I must be going crazy. Like, I ain't gonna tell nobody I'm hearing voices. They're gonna try to lock me up. No, you're hearing voices. You're hearing the spiritual realm. You're hearing those that have crossed over.
Or a lot of them are already in the psych ward. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of them are in these wards, and people are telling them that they're crazy because they're hearing ancestors deliver and download messages to them. So exactly. A lot of them are already crazy. Let's just keep it a buck.
Exactly.
But I was gonna say you are a moon child, so you were exactly in your element, being outside under the moon. Okay, let's just call it what it is. You're a moon child, so you're exactly on to your home, basically.
Exactly.
So that's why you were connected so much to the outside and to nature, because you're a moon child, you're a Cancer. So you were right in your element. And you know, I heard this quote, I don't know who said it. I'm sure one of you guys will probably drop it in the comments later on after we posted it. But he said, do something every day that scares you. Do one thing every day that scares you. Because if you stay in your comfort zone, can you really say that you lived?
Right.
That you really lived if you stay complacent in your comfort zone? No. You can't say that you lived because you did everything that was safe. You played it safe. You can't always play it safe. Yeah, you got to look when you cross the road. You got to make sure that you say a prayer before you go outside and make sure that you pray over your food. Talking like doing something every single day that you might not have done just to see where it could lead you. I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Just try doing something every day that scares you and watch how you elevate not only your spirit, but your life. Apply for that job. I don't care if you have the credentials. Spirit will put people in place that can see you, that will give you that opportunity, even if you don't have the credentials or the education, okay? Or even a suit to come into work. Spirit will provide. That's what spirit does. And people put too much trust in man and the system and forget that spirit is over the system. Spirit is conducting the system. Spirit is in charge of the system, okay? Then it's man, okay? It's always been spirit. God, the Most High, whoever y'all want to call it, it's always been something higher than man. Let me not go off on a tangent. So, the first thing, self-awareness and identity exploration, okay? Now, physical healing practices, that is the second thing, okay? Since the first house influences your physical appearance, remember, it's what you present to the world. Exploring body-centered therapies like yoga, exercise, and mindful movements that align with your rising sign. And you can Google this. What movements align with my rising sign? My rising sign is Scorpio. What movements align with this rising sign? You can Google it or put it in Chat GTP. There's so much information out there, you guys have no idea. Put that into the computer. These movements can help promote both physical and emotional healing. So yes, you can find out what yoga moves are like good for your rising sign. Yes, there are yoga moves, there are mantras that you can recite that can help you with your rising sign. All you got to do is just Google it. I can get into it, but I'd be here until the crack of dawn. So for that, you have to do that on your own time, just for time's sake.
Okay.
Because the show ain't long. So that physical healing practices. Now, this is a no-brainer, journaling and reflection. You know, whenever you write something out, you speak something into the universe, thus it shall be. So journaling and reflection, keeping a journal to document how your rising sign influences your reactions and behaviors can be powerful. Why? Because not only can you document everything that you're experiencing, but you can go back and read it and say, hey, I reacted this way in this situation. And I reacted the same way in that situation. Could it be that this is what I'm projecting onto the world? Yes, yes, and yes. And you can see that because you have it all documented. So it's like a little cheat code to knowing how you react to everything once you write it down. It's like a journal. So, or it is a journal basically. So yes, having a journal and practicing, or this will help you identify patterns linked to past trauma and work through them concisely, because you can see what exactly you're doing and how you're reacting to things. And also, let me just put this out there because this should have been number one. Working with an astrologer, working with someone who is specialized in figuring out who you are to the core. That should have been number one. I would just put that out there. That's not even on my list. That just came to mind. Working with an astrologer can and will be beneficial to you now and in the long run, because they can help you understand, and understand who you are to the core. And they can work through all of your houses and teach you guys what exactly you need to know in order to navigate on this realm. So that is a gem for you guys. It wasn't even on my list. Exploring ancestral patterns. This is a good one because the first house can also be linked to inherited traits and family patterns, reflecting on how your ascendant sign might relate to family dynamics or ancestral trauma. And remember, a couple of Sundays ago, Bestie and I, we spoke to you guys about how I believe your moon sign is connected to your mother, right? And we talked about how that can tell you the relationship that you have with your mother. And also that can tell you a lot about the relationship that your mom might have had with her mother. Because remember, everything is passed on. Everything is passed on to generation through generation until someone decides that the buck stops here. And that someone is you, if you're watching. So what you guys can do is you can look at the patterns that have kind of fluctuated throughout your family history. And a good way of doing that, honestly, is getting an ancestor book. I actually got mine they have them on eBay, but I found mine at a flea market actually for like 50 cents. But they have them on eBay, Amazon. You can just buy them wherever. And you can write down, like, this is my grandmother. She was born this date. She had this amount of children. She had that child, that child, that child. Here's their names. You know, they live so and so. So just so you can get a blueprint of who everyone is. And if you can, speak to these elders and ask them questions. I have an aunt, she is pushing 90. She's pushing 90 on my father's side, and I'm hitting her up as much as I can, asking her questions about the family, because if anybody knows, she does. Because she's been around almost 100 years. So talk to family members, you know, sit with them, ask them questions about how they grew up, what their mother was like, what were the times like when they were in the world, what was going on, what worldly events were happening, because all of these things shape your reality. Where you come from shapes your reality, whether you guys know it or not. Your mother shapes your reality. Your father shapes your reality. The relationship that you have with your family members shapes your reality. So keep that in mind. So that is very important, exploring ancestral patterns, dynamics, and how your ancestral trauma can offer insights into healing opportunities, because you don't know how to heal unless you know what you're healing. So you need to look at, and there is a ladybug on my roof that my cat is trying to get. Wow. You know, ladybugs are a sign of good fortune. Mm-hmm. So I wish I could show it dark, because it's dark outside of where I'm at right now, but that's a sign of good fortune. So thank you, Spirit, for that gem right there. And last but certainly not least, setting boundaries and self-care. So when you understand your first house, of course, that can help you establish healthy boundaries and protect your well-being, but you need to prioritize self-care, because that self-care is going to resonate with your rising sign. And that's going to help you create a nurturing environment for healing. And when you figure out and come to the realization on what is no longer serving you, what energies are not beneficial to your healing, it's going to do a world of difference for you. Once you sit down with self and really have a face-to-face with you, yourself, and I, as I always say, yes, it may hurt at first. It may not feel too good to have to let go of people that you want to hold on to, that you still have feelings for, that are a part of your family. That's not going to feel too good, but if it's going to help you evolve and become a better person, then that's what you have to do. Because like I said earlier in the podcast, everything on Atlantis has to evolve. So anything that is a detriment to your evolution has to be eradicated. It has to go. It has to go, because if it doesn't go, then that same thing is going to take you under with it. So be mindful and conscientious of what you are allowing in your energy field, because that same thing is going to be tied to you. And whatever it's tied to you is either going to elevate you or drown you. So I know I'm going off.
You were there because I did pull some more cards, and so there you were saying everything that these cards, and I'm sitting up here. She don't even know that I pulled these other cards. So I'm
Well,
a
go ahead. I'm
I'm
doing
a,
it. So go get
so
another read, B. I'm just saying,
so
that was it.
so these are the animal spirits. I said, what are the animal spirits that you want the different elemental signs to understand during this season? And so the first thing for our earth signs, I hope none of you are afraid because, and actually, when even during my previous um, spiritual progress report, I want to say for the earth signs, you also get this card again, but it was a different deck, but the same card. You got the tarantula. So earth signs. This card says connection. It means that during this time right now, as you are healing, how you're going to heal is by connecting with your loved ones, your friends. So because some of you have separated yourselves unintentionally from your tribe, and it's like you need to get back to your tribe. You need to get back to those who will pour into you just as much as you pour into them. So it's saying at this time you must find connection. And for some of you, I'm hearing hobbies. So say if you are a gardener, it's time for you to start gardening again if you've gotten out of it. Or if it's something that you deal with the earth, it's time for you to get back to that again so that um, you can feel that connection, right? Connection back to the earth. For my air signs, you got the red fox and it says strategy. So right now you're going to have to be strategic about the way you do things. And I'm sorry for this glare, so I'm going to show it again, but it says strategy. And I thought it was ironic that it says strategy because we all know that the air cards in tarot mean swords. Thinking it
Right.
means your thought process. So it's right now you everything that you're doing airside, you must actually strategize it. It's time for you and some of you may have said, I already do that, right? Well, this is a confirmation that you have to literally strategize now. You can't just do things. You literally have to strategize. And that is what's going to pull you out of some things. For the water signs, you got polar bear and it says ancestors. So as water signs, we are already close knit with spirit anyway, because spirit and what there's a similarity with water and spirit. And so to get polar bear, I instantly thought of frozenness, ice. And so we, for some, well, I will say we, as water signs, we have been kind of in a frozen state. We have been stuck. We have been stagnant in some areas. And the way to get out of that is to embrace our ancestors so they can help us maneuver through the ice because ice is frozen water. Even if it's frozen, we still are in our element. So even
Right.
when you're stuck, you're still able to maneuver and move. And the best way to do that is to connect with your ancestors. And for my fire signs, so when you were talking, this revelation came to me because I said, why in the world? How? Because as you can see, um, the difference between the air sign and the other signs was that this lady is holding an umbrella. So I said, okay, well, I can get that with the air because you got to hold the umbrella in the air, right? So for all the signs, it makes sense. Earth signs got the grounded card. The water signs got the water card. The air signs got the red fox sitting on top of an umbrella in the air. But the fire signs got butterfly, and it says the soul. And I said, Spirit, what are you saying? What are you saying to the fire signs that they must get in this butterfly energy? And the word that came out was transformative. You fire signs have to get in your transformative energy, because with the soul constantly transform your life. There's a burning desire to transform, because if you think about it, fire is the transforming element. We don't get the diamond until the coal has been put into the fire. We don't have metal structures until the fire applies the heat index to melt and merge the two metals together and mold. We don't even have electricity without the fire first making that spark to go through the copper wires. Fire is a transformative element. And so, fire signs, it's time for you to transform from your soul. You have to allow your soul to transform. And in the butterfly energy, you automatically think of the cocoon. You have been in this cocoon for quite some time, and now it's time for you to come out. You have already transformed. It's time for you to show the transformative energy. It's time for people to see what has been working and cooking on the inside now.
I love that. I love that. And you know what? I saw a butterfly, I believe it was yesterday, either yesterday or the day before yesterday, with my oldest daughter. And I was just like, look, like there's a butterfly. And I think it was orange and brown. And I was like, okay, so now I know that change is coming. Because, you know, butterflies symbolize change and evolving out of situations and shifting, you know, realities. And then I believe I saw no, 555, I think. And I was like, okay, thank you, Spirit. Like, that's what I needed to see, because I think I was thinking about something that I couldn't decide. And I was like, that's my like sign. And I'm telling you, Spirit may not come when you want it, but it's always on time. And let me just circle back around on the importance of creating healthy barriers for your own peace of mind and mental serenity, because I had to have a hard conversation with my oldest daughter yesterday, because she came to me and we were just talking about a situation that happened yesterday with a very problematic family member who just tends to always have a problem with solutions, and it's just very like problematic, just in general. And I told her, I said, you know, other people's issues have nothing to do with you and everything to do with them and what they're going through. But a lot of times people project onto you their insecurities, their fears, their uncertainties, their anger, their ambiguity. It's like they will do that to you because they don't have a safe haven, or they haven't, you know, figured out how to rectify what's going on within them, or they don't have nobody to talk to. Point blank period. So
that too.
That was a hard conversation, because this person is a family member. No, it's not someone who we're close to, I'll say, but it's someone who is associated with someone who they're close to, if that makes sense, without giving out too many details. So it's like we have to get to this person to get to other people. So we kind of have to deal with them. But I say all that to say that that was a learning experience for her. That no matter how someone acts, what they say is a reflection of what they have going on. And my daughter is very intuitive. Like, she's a Cancer moon, so she can pick up on everything, like on the energy, when the energy shifts, when someone is intentionally trying to be like demeaning, like she can pick up on everything. And that's one thing with children, like intuitive children, especially Cancer moons. They pick up on the slightest things. And so I told her, I said, you have a gift. And a lot of people aren't going to understand that. But as long as you stay rooted in your gift and remain true to yourself, you have nothing to worry about. So
yeah,
I just want to say that, because that, me being with her that day and seeing the butterfly reminded me of the conversation that we had about this particular family member. And it kind of got underneath my skin, but I was like, that's her problem. Like, that's something that she's been that way since I've known her. So it's not anything that we can change, because she has to make that change for herself in order to have a better life and to be happy. But since we have to kind of deal with her, I just had to have that talk with my daughter that, you know, everybody evolves at their own pace. Some people take longer than others. But, you know, you just have to just know that it's nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. So
right.
Just wanted to say that. That is a part of understanding your first house. You have to understand how people perceive you. And some people don't even know how they're being perceived. They really think that they're coming at people correctly and respectfully. And sometimes you're not. Like, you're coming nasty. You're coming at people like wrong. And it's important to understand who you are, to know how people are taking you, how you're being perceived, okay? And what energy you're emanating. That's very important. Don't emanate bad juju. Do not emanate bad juju.
It's not good for you. It is not good for you.
It's never good for you, and it's never good for your karma. Like, and I always say karma is so patient. Like, if karma can't get you, guess what? It's gonna get your kids for what you didn't do right, or for who you tried to intentionally hurt, all because you're fucked up. Excuse me. So we want to say that. And that's all I got to say about that. So, and thank you guys for coming in, all the peoples and friends and family and cousins. Thank y'all for coming in. We know it's late. We know that y'all could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. We always want to give thanks to the people that are up late. Soraya, we hope you're still on. Soraya, are you there? We also hope you still better too, mamas. Because like I said, it's always lit when you're on. So that's all I have, bestie. I went through all of my bullet points. So I don't know if you want to close us out with any last words or quotes or thoughts for the night. But that's all I have. So
just continue to heal. Take what you've learned tonight and actually apply it. Just actually take the words.
Listen and be like, oh yeah, that was good. That was a good read. That was a good show. And then do nothing with it. Because then, come on now. Like, we do this for you. We're up here every Tuesday night. I be wiping the crust out of my eyes. Like, fixing last minute meals for my kids. Come on, we do this for y'all. We're up here late for you guys. So work with us here. At least teach one. Pass it on. Look, if you ain't gonna take the information, pass it on to somebody who will. Okay? That's all I'm gonna say about that. But yeah, no, we appreciate you guys for rocking with us. What, 26 episodes in? So
I believe so.
We almost at 30.
We are.
Gee,
we are.
So we appreciate you guys for rocking out with us. And this concludes our 26th episode of Cards and Conversations, where every episode unfolds a deck of intriguing discussions. If you're watching the playback, and this is your first time watching the playback, we do this every Tuesday night, 11:11, angel number. You know what time it is, Eastern Standard Time. So definitely make sure you guys check us out. Make sure your notification bell is on so that you don't miss that episode, and we will upload it. But just, it's more live when you guys are on. when we're actually doing it. It hit different when you're watching a live. You can watch the playback, but it hit different when you watch the live.
It does. It does.
We'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
11/11. You know what time it is.
Peace.
We'll see you guys next week. 11/11. You know what time it is.
Thank you all for joining as well. You all know if you have any questions, please hit me up. I'll be able to answer. Good night.